Hi, this is Vanessa Joy on Adorama TV, and I'm going to show you my latest 3-point light setup on a commercial shoot. Here we are shooting an editorial for Sophisticated Weddings magazine in New York City. We're shooting downstairs in a basement of an old bank, so there's literally no light down here. Knowing this on the shoot, I made sure that I brought the best equipment possible. I have 3 Profoto D1s here. Although I do love the new D2s that came out. This was before I could get my hands on them. And I also have my light shapers. For this shoot, I decided on a beauty dish with a grid that I wanted to highlight the bride's face with. Then I had an umbrella lighting up the entire scene. Finally, I used a 1x3 softbox with a grid to give a little bit of rim light. Because we wanted to have this shoot feel like a nighttime shoot, I decided to add a red gel to the rim light. The reason I chose the red gel is because I wanted the rim light on the subjects to match the roses and the overall theme of the shoot. Setting up the lights was fairly simple. I have them all here on light stands and then plugged in with extension cords into the nearest outlet. I have the beauty dish off to the left, so it's pointed directly at the bride's face, and a little bit high to have a glamorous sort of lighting. The umbrella is providing more of a fill and flat light, being to camera right. It's really just filling in the entire scene. The rim light is behind my subjects, and there are some shots here with it and some shots without, so you can see the difference when there is just a little bit of red rim light as opposed to when there isn't. In deciding what exposure I wanted to use and how I wanted to set the power on the lights, the first thing I did was set my camera for the ambient light in the room, which to be honest was very little, so my shutter speed was fairly low, but thankfully I was using a tripod. My ISO was fairly high, so I did have to do some noise correction in Lightroom later. And my aperture was in the mid-range, about 5.6, because I wanted to make sure I have all the detail in the flowers and the cake and the dress, so I couldn't shoot it at a lower aperture as perhaps I would have liked if I was doing this shoot for myself or for a wedding day. I knew ahead of time that the shoot was going to cover a full spread in a magazine, so I needed everything as crisp as possible. Once I had my settings for the ambient light, I started adding in one light at a time. I started with the beauty dish and started on the lowest power and worked my way up until I got the correct light that I wanted on my subject. Then I added in the umbrella light to fill in the shadows and to even out the overall lighting in the scene. I started at the lowest setting and worked my way up until I got what I was looking for. Finally, I added in just a touch of that rim light, the red in the back to the right, just to give a little bit of dimension and highlight a little bit of interesting color. Thankfully, I was tethering so I could really analyze how the light was hitting my subjects and make adjustments as I needed to. When you're setting up a shoot like this, always give yourself enough time if possible. I know we don't always get a lot of time, but thankfully this was an editorial shoot where I did have the time to set up each individual light and get exactly what I was looking for and what my client was ultimately looking for. Taking a look at how the lighting appeared on my computer instead of just on my camera really helped me hone in on my settings. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss a thing here with Breathe Your Passion on Adorama TV, and I will see you next time.